Thankfully, there are no further incidents in the hallway. By the time we get back to my room, Klaude is noticeably more at ease. I take a seat on my bed as he shuts the door behind him.
The day's climax is at last upon us.
Do you have to say the word climax in the bedroom? Klaude, I just started it today. Oy. There's no choir involved in this, is there? Last year I sat down on my bed and a choir started singing a birthday song in the garden outside my window.
No choir. This is much better.
He sits down beside me and hands me the box. His eyes are glimmering with excitement. Claude's excitement is just as much a part of the gift as the gift itself. He always looks so happy when he gives me something. And his happiness is contagious.
Are you going to continue to make me wait in suspense?
I thought this was my gift and not yours.
Don't be like that, love. You know how much I enjoy seeing your eyes light up when you open a gift.
I glance down at the little box that is now on my lap. It is wrapped in vibrant red, gold, and green, red, gold, and green. A small card on the top reads,
To my betrothed on her special birthday week, you are my compass even in darkest times.
Aw, how sweet. I flush a little as I pluck the card off and set it aside. Betrothed. It is still so strange to think that we are engaged. Everything feels as it always has. It feels natural. I eye the ring on my finger as I carefully unfold the wrapping paper.
You could just tear the paper, you know.
I enjoy making you wait in suspense.
You do like to tease me, don't you?
Yes. I laugh as I pull off the wrapping paper and then, slowly, open up the box that Klaude has brought for me. Oh my god! That is so cute. Where did you even get such a thing? No. This... I take the first plush out of the box and stare at it. It is fuzzy and almost completely black with red eyes, and yet somehow it is cute. And the other plush... I take it out and gaze at its dress and face. It has a lily necklace hanging from its neck and glass slippers on its small feet. I can immediately tell from the hair who it is meant to be. It's me, and I stare at the black beast plush, startled. You? Klaude laughs, looking pleased with himself. But why would he make himself out to be a beast?
You look confused, but certainly you must realize that this gift is based off the Beauty and the Beast.
But you...
Look, I even gave myself a crown.
I furrow my eyebrows at him. You don't really think that you're...
a beast?
Claude's lips curve into a gentle smile.
In the past, yes. But for now, the beast is just a plush. Don't you think it's cute?
I glance down at the beast plush again, my fingers on the crown. The past, I lean against Claude's shoulder and hold up the two plush toys so that I can see them side by side. They are adorable, Klaude. I love them. I wrap my arms around his waist and settle my head on his shoulder. Thank you.
Better than a choir or a large cake. I debated combining the two this year, you know.
I suppose if I had to choose...
No, wait, don't tell me. You might just break my heart.
I grin at him as he wraps an arm around my waist and plants a kiss on the top of my head. I love everything that you get for me, no matter how small or how grand. I eye the rose locket hanging around his neck and smile. Klaude notices me looking and puts a hand to it. More than 2 years ago, he had a rose tattoo by his heart. Now he calls the rose locket his heart.
I would get you the whole world if I could. But for now, I hope you don't mind settling for these smaller gifts.
I'd never be able to fit the whole world in my room. But I can fit you in here at least, and that's probably the most important thing.
Probably. Lucette, I am offended.
I laugh, and he leans down to plant a kiss on my smile.
You really won't let me skip out on my lessons today? I could think of much better things to do with this time.
He raises an eyebrow at me, but I just slide away from him. A Prince of Angielle needs to know his kingdom, doesn't he? Klaude stares at me after that, his expression growing surprisingly somber. For a few moments, I see a glint of melancholy in his eyes. Then he stands up abruptly and fixes a smile to his face. Yeah, I was wondering how you guys were going to decide on this ruling business. I mean, you're technically the eldest son of Brigantia, and she is the only child of Gennaro, so she's his only heir. You do have a brother, so it would make sense for the two of you to rule Angielle instead of Brigantia, but I wasn't sure if you were going to do a combination of the two kingdoms, but that might be too much for you both. I don't know. It's interesting.
Of course. And then there's also my kid brother to attend to.
I will go speak with Lance, so do not worry about him. Once again, Klaude's expression is sullen, but the look is only temporary. He leans down to take my hand, then places a soft kiss at its back.
In that case, I will see you later, my love.
He smiles at me one last time before heading out the door. I fall back on my bed, holding the two plushes to my chest. I hold up the beast plush and sigh. That uneasiness I felt just now was my imagination, right? The beast plush does not answer me. I set the Beauty and the beast plush toys down beside each other on my bed. For a few moments, I look at them, thoughtful. Eventually, I move to exit the room and turn my thoughts to brighter things. That was really cute, Klaude. I love them. They're super adorable. Karma and Llama. I hope he doesn't still think of himself as a beast. He's made such great progress. Haven't heard this piece of music before. And who could be talking here?
No matter what I do, I can never make a difference.
He died because of me. It's all my fault.
They have so much gold, and yet they won't spare a single coin.
This is... If only I could be rid of him. All he does is take. Take, take, take. The voices continue to pound inside my head like a trapped animal fighting its cage. I become aware that I am in a dream. A nightmare. The moment I realize, I begin to stir. I attempt to wake myself up, but stop when I hear another voice at the edge of my consciousness.
How could they miss me? It's not as if they haven't already replaced me.
The voice is familiar, and for a few moments it is the only echo I hear in my mind. Whose voice is this? I try to listen, but to no avail. The other voices soon press into my mind, making it impossible to hear anything else. I force myself awake. That gave me strong Seduce Me vibes. Seduce Me 2, specifically. I wonder if the familiar voice was Klaude. And if he feels like he's been replaced in Brigantia? By his brother? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. My heart is beating erratically in my chest, and my head is pounding. I feel faint, even though I have just woken up. I glance slowly around my room with sleepy eyes, searching for Klaude, but he is not here. Ever since we became engaged, he has been sleeping in this room with me. The king was against it at first. Even I could not help but be surprised by Claude's bold proposal. Yet according to him, such a thing is tradition in Brigantia. I'm sure. Still, it took Father many months to agree. In the end, he only relented with a month remaining to the wedding, saying that he found it more acceptable. It's pleasant when I wake up and actually find him sleeping next to me, but... I notice a small note on the bedside table and sigh. He has another morning meeting with my father, it seems. I put a hand to my forehead and close my eyes. And that nightmare. Ever since I became the Tenebrarum Bearer 2 years ago, I have been having these nightmares. Parfait tells me that they become milder the more I learn to put them to the back of my mind. The voices usually are not so terrible they drag me under like that. The last time the voices were this loud, it was because I was surrounded by negativity from somewhere close by. I sit up in bed and turn to look at the beast plush that lies just beside my pillow. That negativity isn't coming from Klaude, right? I am uncertain whether or not it is the truth or my imagination, but even though he is, for the most part, his usual self, there are moments when he feels different. There are moments where his smile wavers and a tinge of melancholy comes into his eyes. The first time I saw it was when he gave me the beast plush. That was 6 days ago, okay? I've asked Klaude multiple times if something is amiss, and he always waves me off with a smile. I glance again around the room that we now share. Most of it has not changed, though Klaude has added some things, namely a piano that sits in one corner. He insisted on putting it into the room when he first moved in, and I had no qualms about it, not when I know the playing calms him down. Besides, I do not mind watching him play. Okay, so he plays piano like, Dion? Was that his name? I think that was his name in Lockhart. Sometimes, when I am in the mood, I play with him. Oh, you guys play together. That's so nice. Perhaps I should suggest playing together sometime later today. I stifle a sigh as I slide off of my bed and move to get dressed. A maid arrives to call me to breakfast and then leads me to the dining hall. Breakfast is livelier today on account of Lance, who sits beside Emmeline, listening to everything the royal family is discussing with a broad smile on his face. Even though the king and Klaude are both absent from the table, Lance talks enough for the both of them. In fact, ever since he arrived, Lance has somehow managed to put himself in the spotlight for every family meal. He does not start conversations on his own, but he is always quick to respond, and usually with a smile. He seems inherently interested in everything that he hears. It is amazing to me that he manages to be so animated and attentive so early in the morning. Must be a morning person then. My thoughts are preoccupied during breakfast, hovering somewhere between Claude's duties and my own. I listen while I eat, sometimes nodding along with the conversation. I have almost cleared my plate when Lance speaks directly to me, jolting me out of my reverie. Okay.
Have you ever spoken with the witches in Brigantia, Princess?
I look up and blink, trying to piece together what he might have been saying. The witches from Brigantia.
Klaude tells me that you interact with many witches because of your position as Tenebrarum Bearer.
He puts a hand on his chest and gives a slight bow. Even sitting down in front of a half-finished breakfast plate, he manages to make the motion look somehow dignified. Why are you giving me a slight bow?
I must stress that, as always, it is an honor to be in your presence.
I cannot help but smile at him. Most of the time, being the Tenebrarum Bearer is more an ordeal than a blessing, but I have learned to appreciate the responsibility. Please, Lance, there is no need for that. I shake my head. And no, I do not usually speak with Brigantian witches. I usually have no reason to, unless there is some kind of upset. From what I have heard, though, the witches in Brigantia are content. There are still incidents involving witches in Angielle every so often, but thankfully those incidents have been on the decline in the last year.
It does seem that way, though I cannot say with absolute certainty because I do not have many witch acquaintances.
Lance's eyes brighten. He seems to be lost in memory for a few moments, but then he speaks up.
Many of the witches I do know have visited the castle to perform extraordinary magical feats.
Mother has a few witch acquaintances that help her decorate her midnight parties with enchanted objects.
Midnight parties? Emmeline looks at Lance in wonder.
Mother's a bit of a night owl, so she throws many parties at night. She refers to her weekly evening celebrations as midnight balls.
Ah, that sounds lovely.
They are quite lovely, if not a bit overwhelming at times. But I suppose that's to be expected. Brigantia is known for its animated nightlife. It's sleepy when the sun is still up and lively when the moon rises. The balls are a particularly special nighttime celebration with renowned performers. One year, when Klaude and I were still young, my mother invited a witch whose specialty was magical gardening.
Magical gardening?
The witch conjured an entire field of colored roses.
That's...
Suffice it to say, it left quite the impression. I think we learned to appreciate roses a lot more after we were gifted an entire field of them.
I wonder if my mouth could work. Let's try that again. I wonder if such showcases are part of the reason Klaude loves roses so much. Maybe so. Maybe that's why he and his brother like it. I think of the rose locket and smile.
What sort of magic do you specialize in, Princess Lucette?
Oh, you know, ice, lightning, the huge. I look up at Lance, momentarily perplexed. Delora taught me shields and ice first, so I am probably most comfortable with those spells, but I do not consider them my specialty.
Lucette is very good with ice. She made a sculpture of Klaude once for his birthday.
Emmeline? Lance stares at me with clear impress.
You made a sculpture out of ice? That's amazing!
Klaude thought it was amazing too, even if I could never get his features right. He teased me about it for a long time afterward, but he was definitely distressed when I set the sculpture outside in the sun so that it would melt.
There's a broom here that she animated to clean all on its own, too.
Mr. Broom is still around? No, Mr. Broom is entirely Delora and Parfait's fault. Why is Mr. Broom here? I did not want to bring it here at first, but in the end agreed to it because the thing wouldn't leave me alone when I visited the tavern. Aww, poor Mr. Broom. I brought it here and tweaked the enchantment on it so that it could sweep on its own. Now at least, Delora cannot renew the enchantment on it just to tease me. Rod looks up from his plate, eyebrows raised.
A little more than a year ago, Lucette created a light show in the dining hall. There was electricity bouncing everywhere.
That lightning spell was a difficult beginner's spell. Lance laughs, looking delighted. Thanks for calling me out, Rod.
So you are a master of all trades. I wouldn't expect anything less from the Tenebrarum Bearer. It is a shame that you can't come to Brigantia for a long enough time to meet the witches there. They speak of you fondly, even if they cannot see you often.
They do?
Most certainly.
That is surprising. But perhaps I am making more progress with everyone than I first thought. I think about what Lance said, about my inability to visit Brigantia. Unfortunately, I cannot leave Angielle for extended periods of time when I am the Tenebrarum Bearer. I have to remain in the kingdom because I am tied to the crystal, but... My thoughts shift to Klaude. He has gone to visit Brigantia a number of times without me, but I know that he is sad I cannot join him. Because of my own position as Tenebrarum Bearer, I could never go to Brigantia and become a princess there. Oh, right, I had forgotten that very important detail. That is the reason my wedding engagement with Klaude will make him a crown prince of Angielle. It is also the reason Klaude was forced to step down as the crown prince of Brigantia and hand the title over to his brother. Lance breaks through my thoughts with a question.
Might I be so bold as to ask for a demonstration? I would be happy to tell you more about Klaude if you would show me some of your magic.
Ophelia, who had been quietly listening in on our conversation, suddenly stands from the table with a smile.
I'll leave you all to it then. But please, no electric mishaps.
I am more than capable of controlling my electricity. Poor Lucette. Ophelia just smiles at my embarrassment before excusing herself from the table. Just in case. A magical demonstration. I am still considering what spell to cast when the doors to the dining hall swing open and Klaude walks inside. He looks somehow downtrodden, his expression broody.
Karma, you came just in time for the princess's magic demonstration.
Klaude turns and looks at me quizzically, his expression softening.
Then I have arrived at the perfect time.
He keeps walking until he is standing behind my chair. I am relieved to see his initial stress completely disappeared from his face. I turn my gaze to the rest of the table. Everyone is looking at me expectantly. A spell. Should I do something that I am comfortable with, or something new? We can attempt to make a rose. Oh, we gotta try. Gotta try for the Rose Brothers. An ice spell would be safe, but perhaps I can cheer Klaude up with something new. I have made a lot of things before, but never a rose. Still, it cannot be that difficult, surely. I hold out my hands, cupping them in front of me to create a small platform. I squint down at the palm of my hands, concentrating the magic in my body into my fingers. The magic beneath my skin is a subtle thing, but 2 years of practice has made it easier to grip and shape it into something. I close my eyes briefly, imagining the shape of a rose. The first thing that comes to mind is the rose locket on Claude's chest. I attempt to draw the shape of it out into reality. If I can shape ice, this is nothing.
Oh!
That's...
I open my eyes and stare down at the object in my hands. Oh, she did it! It is indeed a rose, but much to my disgruntlement, it is flat. Extremely flat. Its shape resembles the flat, metallic shape of Claude's rose locket, only it is awkwardly balanced on a vibrant green stem. A single wiry leaf juts out from the stem. I sigh as the rose caves in on itself. Oh, this is not impressive at all. I will try again.
But... Lucette, wait.
Klaude takes a step forward and then reaches past my shoulders. He touches his fingers to the petals of the delicate rose. Much to my relief, they do not fall.
I think it's beautiful. I agree with Emmeline.
Klaude smiles as he plucks the rose from my fingers. He holds the strange, flattened flower up to his nose and smells it.
It also smells far better than a normal rose.
Really?
I'm inclined to agree. And a rose made out of magic is more special than a rose plucked from a rose bush. It's lovely, Lucette.
A rose by any other spell wouldn't smell as sweet. But it's so flat. It looks like it might fall off the stem at any moment. I shake my head slightly and attempt to snatch it away from Klaude. He only holds it out of my reach with a mischievous smile. Fine, you can keep it then. Klaude smiles. He holds the rose carefully in one hand and leans down to kiss my cheek.
I most certainly will.
He keeps the rose clutched gently in between his fingers as Lance turns to me.
That was amazing, Lucette. Your magic is beautiful.
And fierce.
Sometimes too much so.
Oh, hush you. You make it sound like my magic is aggressive when it is not. I barely have any reason to use magic in the first place. Most of the time I only use it for convenience. And then I sometimes use it to make gifts for Klaude just to upstage him. Lance thanks me again for the demonstration before excusing himself. He and Emmeline rush off for extremely important plans. Rod heaves out a great sigh before eventually following after them. You be a good chaperone to your sister, you hear?
Oh.
I hope they are not trying too hard for my birthday celebration tomorrow. I remain with Klaude while he eats a late breakfast and then head out with him when he is done. I know that our time together will not last long. Klaude has to take off to another lesson, and I have a meeting with my father. It is another discussion about the implementation of new laws in Angielle. Before the two of us go our own separate ways, Klaude turns to me with the rose still in his fingers.
I am going to return this to the room first.
I am sure that when you see it later tonight, it will have caved in on itself.
You have no faith in me, Lucette.
It is more that I have no faith in the rose. Klaude flicks my forehead, bringing me back into reality. Why does everyone want to flick my forehead in this game? Next time you do that, I'll freeze your pretty eyelashes. Klaude bats his eyelashes at me and chuckles. Alright, that's a good retort.
I wouldn't mind. It would be a nice change in aesthetic, I think.
He plants a quick kiss on my forehead.
Until we next reconvene, love.
After a quick exchange of farewells, we separate and go our own ways. The day turns out to be busier than I had anticipated. Except for a short hour break in between, I barely see Klaude. He manages to give me his gift for the day in between our responsibilities. It is a feat for the eyes, a simple yet elegant blue dress decorated with lilies. Klaude is good at selecting dresses, given his prior experiences with them. The king always seems surprised when I tell him that Klaude helps me compile my wardrobe. He's got an eye for it. I know I will have to wear this dress sometime soon as well. This thought hangs in my mind as I continue about my business. Wear it for your birthday celebration tomorrow. The rest of the day passes in a blur. It's a perfect opportunity. Even the evening moves quickly. I have enough time to sit down to dinner with my family before I have a meeting with a witch from town. By the time I am finally able to head back to my room, it is 9:10. My body feels incredibly heavy, and all I want to do is crash onto my bed. I have just turned the bend in the corner when I hear soft music coming through the halls. I stop to listen. Klaude must be playing the piano. Strange. He usually does not play if I am not there to play with or watch him. I think this is the theme from the first game. Broken Cinderella or something? I walk the rest of the way to my bedroom, then push open the door quietly so as not to disturb Klaude. Aww. Oh yeah, strong Dion vibes indeed. The music wafts out from the room like a gentle breeze. The minute I step inside, I see Klaude at the piano, fingers gliding across the keys to create the beautiful sounds emanating from the instrument. He is so immersed in his music that he does not notice when I step inside and shut the door behind me. He looks solemn yet at peace, his eyebrows drawn in concentration as he focuses on the keys. Even as I watch, the rigidness of his expression begins to crumble away into a gentle smile. The song. It is beautiful. Will I break his concentration if I move to sit beside him? I don't think so. I think he would be very happy to have you join him. It will be fine. Klaude knows how to focus. Aw, that's great. I make my way over to where he is sitting at the piano and quietly slide onto the bench beside him. The song does not stop, even when Klaude inclines his head toward me slightly. The gentle smile never falters. In fact, his eyes seem to gleam even more when he notices I sit behind him.
Well, well. This is a most pleasant surprise. I was wondering when you'd be back.
I set one of my hands down on his knee and lean my head onto his shoulder. It has been a long day.
I'm sorry I couldn't lighten your workload, darling. You deserved a more lax day today. You deserve to be spoiled.
His playing at the piano ceases as he puts his hand on top of mine. Claude, you spoil me every day. Sometimes too much. It is fine. I furrow my eyebrows slightly, realizing that my presence has probably put a damper on his playing. I interrupted you playing, didn't I? I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing, darling? You know what I always say.
Claude smiles at me mischievously. Hey.
I always notice the most pertinent things, and you are far more important than any piano piece.
He laces his fingers through mine before leaning forward to press a gentle kiss to my lips. The feeling of his lips on mine causes my earlier stress to melt away completely. Everything around us fades to a gentle blur when I kiss him back. For some time it feels like the world has stopped around us, and then there is just the two of us. At times like this, it feels like we have all the time in the world for each other. I am the first to pull away. I poke Claude in the chest and smile as I slide off the bench. What song were you playing?
I wonder.
Oh, hi, Travis. Is it really necessary to keep it a secret? The song wasn't meant to be a surprise for tomorrow, was it? Claude just looks at me with his lips curved into a cat-like smile. I am going to assume that is a yes. I move to sit down on the edge of my bed. If you're in here playing, I am assuming that you are done for the day. Claude lets out a sigh as he leans dramatically back on the piano, one arm draped across its surface, the other one resting on his forehead.
I'm afraid the night still has yet more excitement for me.
Is it a meeting with Father? Or assignments from your history tutor? Claude scoffs at me.
I'll have you know I'm on top of all my assignments. I am just as excellent a pupil as I am an instructor.
Your ego knows no bounds.
It's confidence, love. Confidence!
Claude sighs as he stands up and stretches. Afterwards, he turns to look at me.
I'm afraid I have certain plans for tomorrow that I must check on.
Plans for the birthday party? You really don't need to work so hard for me, Claude. Much to my surprise, Claude's smile slips, his expression fading into something more somber.
I will always work hard for you, Lucette. I would do anything for you. That will never change, even if I cannot be...
He stops suddenly, his lips sealed. Can never be what? You cannot be what? Claude looks at me, startled for a few moments. He steps back toward the door, then abruptly he begins to laugh.
Never mind me. A tired man says a lot of peculiar things.
When he smiles, the look is once again melancholy. It is a sad smile. Claude, are you okay?
Yes, Lucette. I'm just a little tired. Don't look at me like that. I'll be fine come tomorrow morning.
Claude? He stops in front of the door, hand on the knob.
Yes, darling.
You remember that we promised there would be no secrets between us, right?
I would never forget a promise I made with you, Lucette.
He says the words with enough conviction that I cannot help but be relieved.
This is just a passing stress, I promise.
I nod my head, relenting.
Now, I regret to say it, but I'll be a little late tonight, so you don't need to wait up for me.
He blows me a kiss.
I love you, Lucette. Good night.
Good night, Claude. He steps out through the door and closes it behind him. Once he is gone, I fall back down on my bed, my eyelids fluttering closed. My body welcomes the softness of the sheets and the comfort of my pillows. I wonder if there's some way to figure out why Claude looks so sad. Someone that could tell me how to help him when he is like this. Brother? The question whirls around in my mind for a while, but it is not long before the desire to sleep overwhelms my worry. Not long after I close my eyes, I find myself drifting away into slumber.